You're watching Delta Daybreak.
Welcome back to Delta Daybreak. I'm Tammy Eslick, and I'm here once again with Ike Trotter.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us, our financial guru. And, of course, I hear that a little congratulations is in order.
Thank you. I hope I have an excused absence for last Friday because I had my first grandchild last week.
Wonderful. Congratulations. I think the people out there will let you slide. So what are we here to talk about this morning?
Okay. A couple of weeks ago, Tammy, I had the pleasure, I go to an annual business conference every year, and one of the keynote speakers at this conference this past year had a program that was entitled The Day of Reckoning is at Hand. Now, he was an economist, and he was talking about some of the financial issues that are facing our country today, and in particular, he was talking about some of the changes to the tax structure here in our country that we will be seeing over the next few months, to be precise, by January 1st.
Of this year coming.
Of this year coming. So that's just about 4 months away. So I thought it would be interesting to our viewers to bring up. I've got about 5 or 6 topics that we could talk about, and I'd like to get started. That's okay.
Sounds good. Let's jump right into it.
The first thing is that income tax rates are going up. Now, I'm not saying to the audience here that income taxes are going up, but for those people that file their income taxes, they know that our tax system here in America is a progressive one. That being, Tammy, the more money you make, the higher you move into tax brackets. So what's happening as of January 1st, we're having a new highest tax bracket, which will now be on all income. The tax bracket will be 39.6%. That will be replacing the previous highest rate, which will be 35%. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, the lowest tax rate of 10% is being lopped off, and now the lowest rate will be 15%.
Wow.
Now, don't read too much from me here, but what some are suggesting is we are seeing potentially a gradual shift in the tax structure towards higher tax rates, which could mean potentially higher taxes for some of our highest earning people in America.
Okay.
So that's interesting. The second thing that we heard about is that long-term capital gains rates on income is rising as of January 1st. Now, when I discuss long-term capital gains rates, we're talking about income or profits, Tammy, that are held in an investment for 12 months or longer. Those rates will be changing on January 1st from a rate of either 5 or 15%, depending on your income, to now to 10 to 20%.
That's
just little things that are happening.
That's a little hike there.
This is heavy stuff for 6:15 in the morning. The next area that we're seeing some changes with have to do with what are called qualified dividends. Since 2003, an investor that might own stocks or mutual funds that own dividends, that paid dividends rather, that they were allowed to be taxed at a rate lower if they were considered qualified. So, as an example, if a person owned mutual funds and the mutual funds generated income, and that income was considered by the federal tax people to be qualified dividends, they would only be paying taxes on those assets at a rate of 5 or 15%, as opposed to normal rates that we pay on all other income of, say, 20 or 25%. So the thing I'm trying to get to here is, Tammy, is if you've got qualified dividends that are being taxed maybe at a max rate of 15%, and if your tax rate on everything else that you get from your income and everything else is 25%, that's a little bit of a tax break there. So that is being allowed to expire at the end of this year, and perhaps in the next segment we can talk a little bit about these expirations that are going on. I was talking in the first segment about some tax laws that are expiring at the end of this year. But there's an interesting story I think that our viewers might want to know about, a tax law that expired last year and is set to come back again on January 1st of 2011.
Okay.
And it has to do with federal and state taxes. Now, when you bring up federal and state taxes, to people, you can just see the eyes glossing over because what's going on here. And truthfully, it's not applicable to most here in the Delta, but it does have some interesting tax ramifications for some of the wealthy in this country, and that's this. The federal estate tax is a tax levied at the death of a person who owns substantial assets. It's been around since 1913, and it's been a part of the financial mantra for a long time. What I wanted to tell you about was the situation of George Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner was a very colorful, charismatic owner of the New York Yankees. A lot of people that are familiar with sports are familiar with Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner died a couple of months ago with a tremendous estate that he had. But what happened was that the federal estate tax laws were allowed to expire at the end of last year.
Okay. Because
of that, he had no estate taxes. And since he died in the year 2010 rather than 2011, when the federal estate tax returns at a threshold of above $1 million for people, they're estimating that Steinbrenner's estate saved some $550 million.
Wow.
Because he happened to die in the year 2010. I know it took a little while to get around all that, but it's interesting what's going on here with situations like that. What's going to happen next year is the federal estate tax will return, and it'll be at rates as they were in 2001.
Okay.
So that's an interesting situation. The Steinbrenner family, of course, is sorry to lose their loved ones, but it saved the estate a whole lot of money.
That's a ton of money.
Yes. In summary, Tammy, what we've got here with the other, we talked about long-term capital gains rates, we talked about tax brackets, we talked about qualified dividends. We're seeing where Congress is not exactly enacting new tax laws, but what's happened is with previous laws that have been passed over the last 15 to 20 years, those tax laws are being allowed to expire. So, for example, if you have these tax laws going like this and they're expiring, that means that politicians can say that they didn't vote to increase taxes because they really didn't. But these laws are been enabled to start back up again, and that's what we're facing.
Well, thank you so much, Ike, for joining us, and I'm sure you'll be back next month with some more financial information for us.
You betcha.
Sounds good. We'll be back right after this.